Yeah. Yeah. True music. To the law and to the testimony. If they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them.
This little light of mine, light of mine, light of mine, yeah. And I'm gonna let it shine. I'm gonna let it shine.
We're going to read through the book of Joel. Okay, in the book of Joel, I'll give you a quickie update, was the book that was read, was the first sermon that was read during Pentecost. And Pentecost is coming up soon. So this is like a update, something that we're going to start putting into our ruach and our spirit. Ruach is the Hebrew word for spirit, right? That's something we're going to put in our spirit so we get it ingrained in us. So when we get to Pentecost, which is Acts, the 2nd chapter, which is part of what we're going to read today, you're going to see that, oh, now I get what he was talking about. Because that when he gets up and starts preaching, he's going to say, just this is what happened in the book of Joel, what he was talking about.
Okay, because I guess what I needed from you, I only bought $2.
That's
I know
fine.
what you're offering.
There's right there, the baskets are offering
Okay,
baskets.
thank you. What I didn't know is what's going on from the start. Like what? Forgive me if I say the wrong thing. I don't want to sound dumb.
Oh, no.
Is this a different religion?
Oh,
Is it like not religion, but different denomination, faith, non-denomination, or what? Because I remember you asking a question on the internet, and then I released, or it was someone else that said something.
yes.
It was either where is Jesus or who is Jesus? And my reply was like, don't you know? Or something like that. I don't remember what it was, but so that made me want to know what actually is going on. You know, what are you doing? Did you leave the church that you were a member of, and now you have your own ministry? And what's going on with that?
Okay, so let's
You
get.
have your thing on
Yeah.
Saturdays,
Yes.
not on Sunday. So I don't know if you still go to church on Sunday
No.
or not. Okay.
Okay. No. Okay, so this is where we are. To give you an update to where we are. All right. We started reading the book and started seeing discrepancies in what has been being taught to us. Through all the churches, not condemning, just bringing it to light. The Bible tells us over and over again to keep certain days. They're called feast days. So everyone knows of some of the more popular ones of Passover, Feast of Tabernacles, and some of these are pretty, almost pretty popular to Jewish faith, but in Christianity, we have set aside the days that were mentioned in the Bible, and we started a new thing. And it doesn't sound new to us because it's something that we've been doing all of our life. But the original Hebrews studied on Saturday. Leviticus 23 says, these are my feast days. I think it's 23, right? These are my feast days. And he tells the people, the Hebrew children, he tells them that these are my feast days, starting with Shabbat. Shabbat is another word for Saturday, right? So he said every Saturday since the creation of time, every Saturday was set aside to be my day. He told all of the prophets, keep Saturday.
Keep the Sabbath holy, which is Saturday.
Right.
Sunday is supposed to be a day of rest, but
No.
we have church on Sunday, right?
That's the change up that man has invented.
Oh, I thought man was doing it wrong for having it on Sunday, because I thought Sunday was supposed to be a day of rest, and you're supposed to
No,
do it on Saturday.
the
Saturday
only
was
day was ever called to be a day of rest was Saturday.
Okay.
And then man came along and created Christianity from out of Christ. They say Christ got up on Sunday, and now we're going to have Sunday worship. No one, even after his resurrection, when you open up the Bible, Paul, Peter, all his disciples, they all worshiped on Saturday. About 70 AD, the Catholic Church came up with worshiping on Sunday because to show distinction between the Catholics and the Jews. Because at one time, they all worshiped the same day. And there was no way to demonstrate or show that one was a Catholic or one was a Christian or one was a Jewish person, because they all, until they spoke and someone said, I follow Yahushua, which is the original Greek name of what we call Jesus, the Hebrew name of Jesus. So when we would hear you, they would say, I follow Yahushua. The more modern name was Yahshua. The Greeks changed his name to a name that was never mentioned in the Bible. Even though we have a Bible that says Jesus in it, it was never Jesus. Just maybe 400 years ago, they started putting a J in the book, because J was never even a letter in the book. Never existed. So the name that we fell in love with, Jesus, I love Jesus, right? Was never a name that he was ever called. And so he says in the book, it says that when the Son of Man comes, he will come in his Father's name. His name literally is part of the Father's name. So if you look in the Old Testament, you're going to find his Father's name, Psalms 68. What's that?
83. Sorry, I thought it was 83. It might be 68.
83?
All this stuff in here.
So
Things
we'll find it real quick.
What now?
68:4. Sing to God, praise his name, to exalt who rides on the clouds. His name is the Yahweh, and rejoice before him.
Say it out loud.
Read it.
Mine has a better translation.
Well, the Sefer would be better.
Yeah.
Do you have
What is it?
68:4.
68:4.
I'm not sure if that's what you're referring to.
It says sing. The Sefer says sing unto Elohim, sing praises to his name, extol him that rides upon the heavens by his name Yah, and rejoice before him.
There you go.
Let me read it.
Okay, 68:4. Read that and find it in this King James version.
Here's
verse 4. Mine says, sing to God, sing praises to his name, extol him who rides on the clouds by his name. Yah.
What is his name?
Yah.
His name is what?
Y-A-H.
Yah.
What
Yeah.
Bible do you have?
And
King James.
rejoice
This is the
before
King
him.
James version.
This is
King James still
the
says.
New Open Bible, King James Version Study Edition.
So in the King James version, it calls him by his name. So what's his name?
Y-A-H, Yah.
Yah.
How you say it? Yah? Or-
Yah.
Okay.
Yah is abbreviated name. His full name is Yahuwah. Now you may have heard Jehovah Witness call him Yahweh. His name is Yahuwah. Nard.
I was gonna say my Bible in the what is this, the ESV, I think. Yep, it says, "Sing to God, sing praise to His name, lift up a song to Him who rides through the deserts. His name is the Lord, exalt before Him," which is not His name.
No. See, and that's
Because every time they make a new version and they break it down, they try and break it down so that you can read it, and it'd be as plain to you as an 8th grade level. But every time they break it down, they mess it up.
Thank you.
Can I say something?
Neil.
When you break something down, we break down a sentence, and to 8th grade level, I don't see a problem with that. But even when you break something down to an 8th grade level, you still tell an 8th grader your name.
Yeah.
You don't change
Yeah,
your
but
name.
what I'm
up.
saying is when you break it down, sometimes it loses its value.
Yeah, it
It
does.
is. You're saying the same thing.
Value.
Because what man has done was remove the name of Yah
And replaced it with Jesus.
and God.
God,
So when you see God, that's not his name.
that's a being. It's like calling me human.
That's a human.
You
Well,
call-
no.
Or we're calling him, yeah. It's not,
So, I don't know. I guess God is supposed to be more
it's a title.
universal.
Yeah.
Right. So
Exactly.
so if you're Hindu, you have a Hindu God. Right? If you're name one.
Muslim, you have
Muslim has a Muslim God. What do they call him?
Allah.
Allah.
You know, see,
Right.
I look at it as one God. There's a one God, but people claim to have different saviors. One God, but the Muslim savior is Muhammad.
Mm-hmm.
And the Jehovah Witness savior is, I don't know, because what's Jesus' other name? Jehovah or
That's
something.
God. So
And
so
Hindu, what do they have? Somebody has Buddha, but they all say, "Oh, we believe in God."
but they claim him to be God. Now
Okay.
now the Muslims will say their God, right? What's the Muslims' God's name?
Allah.
Allah. Right? They'll say Allah is their God. And then the ones in America, the black Muslims, will say the Honorable Muhammad Elijah Muhammad is their savior.
Okay, but they all died and didn't come back.
Right. So what we have learned to do is identify him by the name that was called in the book. We don't agree on any other book that does not agree on the word of God. So we use the King James version for most people, right? But my key book is a renewed name book. So everywhere where the name God shows up, it actually has his true name, Yahuwah.
Mm-hmm.
Everywhere where Elohim, which is another title of God,
Mm-hmm.
it would say Lord in your Bible, where we would have Elohim throughout the book. So that's why I use, for the world to know, I use the cipher. Cipher. Okay? And it's because it has taken his name and restored it. See, the people that wrote the King James, the people that wrote, who was the first person that wrote an English version Bible? Anybody know who that was?
Well, King James didn't write the Bible. It was just
Translated.
King James didn't write the Bible.
No,
It was just
he translated.
no, he didn't even do that. It was just his era, his time.
His people.
Like Caesar, King James. It was just his time. So when they did things, everything had his stamp of approval on it, which was King James, and that's why they say King James Version. But he didn't write it.
Well, we don't. We're aware of that.
Nothing to do with that.
Correct. But his people translated from the original text. But when they translated it, they refused to put God's name in the writing, so they wrote God. Actually, some of the books, the older books, they would have the YHWH, the tetragram. They would have everything but his name because they thought his name was so holy, against what the Bible says. Not that his name is not holy, but he said for you to pronounce my name, to use my name, to call upon me, if the Bible says, if you want to be saved, how do you get saved? Call on what?
Lord.
Call on Yah.
Oh, okay.
But that's what the Bible actually says, call on Yah for salvation. We don't do that now because like you said, every translation gets more and more watered down and watered down and watered down. By the time we get to 2018, we got books that are calling him anything but who he is.
So now say you had someone like me and yourself too, I guess, who was raised up in the church all their life.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't say I know the Bible inside and out. I've read it from front to back,
Mm-hmm.
but I cannot say that I understood what I was reading. You know, I know that when you read the Bible, you should use a concordance with it.
Mm-mm.
I have different Bibles that, you know what I'm saying?
Well,
That's what they taught us.
I know.
And I know that I have in the Bible, like even this Bible.
Yeah, footnotes and cross references.
Footnotes to tell you what this means in case you didn't understand it. So, say, you know, I have been told God has many names. The Alpha, the Omega, the beginning, the end, Yahweh, other Jesus, other names, right?
Mm-hmm.
How can you, I don't want to use the word prove, but that's what it is to me, that what I've been reading and studying all these years is wrong?
Okay.
Because like you said about the writing of the Bible. So I have always been taught, as you should know, that the Bible was written by men who were inspired by God.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
And
Hebrews.
And now you're saying that they didn't write it the right way, or it wasn't. And I know that there's lost books of the Bible.
Yes, I have them as well.
And yeah, there you go.
Okay, so
but I don't want to take you off of Joel.
No, that's fine. That's fine because this is really important.
But that might be a conversation.
No, this is more important than me staying online of a schedule that I had placed in heart. Okay. Because my plan, my goal is to not be the person that's directing the goal or the plan. Mm-hmm. It's whatever Yah decides. If Yah brings you here today, right? Mm-hmm. We're not the church where we got a sermon that we're going to preach, and no. This is reasoning together. The book says, "Come, let us reason together," right? So you're supposed to do an investigation, not walk in and say, "Hear words." Someone gotten up and giving you this lecture, and then you walk out and you're still scratching your head and saying, that sounds good, but I don't know that I agree. You didn't even get a chance to raise your hand and say, can you help me out? And that's what we do. We reason together. Okay, so first.
You want to say something else?
Yes.
when we were little growing up, we saw the Ten Commandments.
Mm-hmm.
The God that the
Other way.
Egyptians worship,
Right there.
the gods that the Egyptians worship was Yah.
Ra.
Ra,
Ra.
Yah.
That's a
okay.
good question too.
It's a big
That's
difference.
a good, yeah.
Really
Yes.
close.
It's big.
That's too close for comfort.
That's a really good point.
Well, I was gonna say,
Wait a minute now. Okay, I'm sorry.
okay, they worship
Can I have
Ra.
something to drink too?
Absolutely.
Coffee or whatever y'all got.
You got
I
it.
just
Yeah,
made
I-
You want hot or cold?
Huh?
I got it from off in the road. I was driving. I got.
Well, we can make you coffee.
You want
We'll
some
get you
coffee?
some water and
Water,
some.
wine.
We have
Coffee. I don't want no wine.
we have Jamaican iced tea behind us.
No, I don't know what that tastes like. I take the coffee.
Okay,
I'm
coffee coming.
sorry. So
Coffee
now-
coming up. Okay,
Now
so
you're on this thing like you said.
so
The teaching thing.
let's follow the line of thought here. During the beginning of after Jesus' death, burial, and resurrection, right? There were a people that were worshiping on Sunday that were not of religious background. They had a Sunday gathering, right? They were worshiping sun god, right? So
Okay, a sun god.
a sun god.
Okay.
When the Roman came along, they were infusing Sunday worship and Christianity and kind of blending it, and then saying this is good. So that's why we got things like
When did Christianity actually come into play? Because okay, God, Jesus is a Hebrew, not a Jew.
correct. Well, same thing. He's a Hebrew.
Hebrew and Jews are
From
two
the he's
different
yes,
things, right?
but if he's Jew, he's from the tribe of Judah. Now, see, let me explain.
They say the Jews are supposed to be the chosen ones.
All right,
and
so
all
so
this
now you're
stuff.
getting ready.
I don't think so.
Now you're getting ready to ask me another question.
No, I'm not. I'm gonna wait.
I'm gonna
sorry.
answer the question, okay? Before you ask
A
it.
lot of stuff
Well,
rolling
answer
around
the
in my
one
head.
about Yah
All right.
and
Yeah.
Okay. So Yah is a jealous God.
God,
he's-
my God is a jealous
Yes,
God.
he's jealous, right? He doesn't want us to worship anybody else. So he gave us the Ten Commandments,
Okay.
right? Nothing has ever changed because why? He's the same what?
Yesterday, today, and forevermore.
You said it, right? So if he set something in line, in order, at one particular time, he didn't stop it.
Okay.
And so he said, I want you to worship me and me alone. Nobody else. I got them listed right here on my little thing I post, right? Thou shalt have no other God before me, right? Thou shalt make no other image, engraven images. Thou shalt not take the Lord thy God's name in vain, right? We're good with that so far, right? Remember the Sabbath and keep it holy. He says remember it.
Remember this?
Because know why? Because there will come a time where people will forget the one day that he says remember. He didn't say remember in anything else.
So are you saying that?
Honor, thou shalt.
Yeah.
Remember. We have forgotten that.
So
Now let me
what is
before
the
you
Sabbath?
hold.
Is it Saturday or Sunday?
It's Saturday. And it's always been Saturday.
Since Genesis, they said this is a day to rest.
Yeah,
He
'cause,
said he rested, so we're to rest.
So
Because who are the people that have church on Saturday?
The Seventh Day Adventists, which is a different thing. We are not Seventh Day Adventists.
we're not,
We're not Seventh Day Adventists. We're not Jehovah's Witness.
No.
and we're not Jews. Jewish.
Jewish.
We're Jews, but we're not Jewish.
Yeah.
Right.
And the reason why I say that is because you know our history.
Mm-hmm.
You know our family. You know that our family has worshiped on Sunday all of our life. All of our church. Our grandfathers, our great-grandfathers, our uncles, our aunts. We got church on Sunday. That's what we do, right?
But we're not supposed to. We're supposed to have it
On Saturday. And Yah has winked at our ignorance.
It says it
In Acts. But when you know better, you got to do better. And he starts showing you. Because I sat here on a Sunday, I'm like, I'm not doing this anymore. And Rob was like, what's wrong? I'm like, I can't go to church on Sunday anymore. There's nothing in the book, the King James Version, that tells me I should be worshiping on Sunday.
But things have always been, I guess, man-made. Like I say to people that, you read the Bible and you take the content and you use it to benefit your beliefs. Or, you know what I mean? You know what I'm trying to say?
I understand what you're saying, but it can't be my beliefs.
No, but I'm saying that's what I
know.
That's what I think that goes on a lot,
Mark 7.
People, the word says that.
Listen.
For one thing, just to quote my mom, is something that she says to me. If I say I'm gonna borrow $5, oh, the Bible says never a borrower or lender shall there be. And I'm thinking,
and that came out of Old Testament.
Yeah, but whether it was in the Old or in the New, I'm thinking that was for a certain people at a certain time for a certain reason. They ain't got nothing to do with me asking you for $5 right now. So why are you throwing it at me? And then I'll come back with, okay, but the Bible also says that the strong are to take on the infirmities of the weak. So right now I'm weak and you are strong and I'm asking you to help me out. But everything, what I said was at a certain time for a certain people for a certain reason. And I think that a lot of times people take the scriptures and they use them for their own, like I said, benefit.
Yes.
And they can get over it because they're talking to people that don't know no better.
And that's true. And that's why we're supposed to study to show ourselves approved. But let me tell you a few things. First, you said earlier that the Jews are not the people, and you know they're not the people. And I said, our history, but I didn't finish with our history. Okay. You know that we are descendants from Harriet Tubman.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
That's not a question, right?
No question.
No question at all. You know she's Hebrew.
I didn't know that.
See, there you go.
Okay.
Now, how do we know?
How do you know she's Hebrew?
Her name was Hebrew before she even came. She changed her name to Harriet.
Well, the slave changed her name.
Well, okay, so either way it changed, but her original name, her original family, all had Hebrew names.
Okay, I see people, right?
Yeah, there's people walking back and forth.
Okay. All right.
All right. Now we can go intense with this even more, because when the people were brought to America, the black people were brought to America as slaves, since we talked about slavery, right? They were kidnapped by Africans and brought over here. And for the most part, they were from the tribe of Judah, escaped from Israel. So when we go into more detail into reading the book, you're going to find all these references to us, or people in the book, of being black. Okay. So we know that even if you walk around and you see, you'll be sensitive to this now, as you walk around and you see crosses, you're going to see images of what?
Black people.
No, when you see crosses, you're going to see images of white Jesus.
Oh, you mean now?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Everywhere. There's always white Jesus.
However, Egypt is
now everyone knows that Egypt is Africa.
Yeah, so
we all know that Jesus, we call him Jesus, right? We all know that Jesus, when he was a baby, he went and they were killing babies, where did he go? To Africa to hide. So there was no way that it was a white baby running around in Africa hiding so that the king didn't kill him.
But Egypt is off the coast of Africa, right? Or
Yes,
Egypt
it is
It's
Africa.
Africa.
So then, you know, also when the Bible describes God,
That's where I was getting
he
ready.
is described
When they
as a black
described
man.
him.
He's not described as
So-
a white man.
So he's
Yeah.
described as having feet of brass, hair like yours, right? But yet, the image that we see, the image that is ingrained into our brain, is an image of a white Jesus.
Yeah, well,
The image that's made in the movies, the image that's made in all the movies, even the Apostle Paul that they just did a movie of, they put a white man in front of us. Does race matter? Yes, it matters. Most definitely it matters.
Well-
Because all of the people in the book were black.
okay.
And then
I
because
believe that I do believe that black people are the chosen people.
thank you.
But I want to say something about our heritage.
Yes.
Now, okay, so
Because we want to get back into the book.
yeah, so Clement Wright's my grandmother. My great grandmother is Gola Ross.
Mm-hmm.
Gola Ross is the daughter of, I don't know if his name is Langston, I forget his name, but she's the daughter of Harriet Tubman's
Brother?
grandfather's, I'll say grandfather's youngest child,
Mm-hmm.
right? So my great grandmother's father and Harriet's father are brothers. So
Right.
that's
Okay.
okay.
And that's our
Yes.
history.
Now, and that's on that side. However, when we get to the Bright side, 'cause that's the Ross side.
Mhm.
On the Bright side, Alexander Crawford Bright is Indian.
Okay.
Where does that come into play?
I didn't know he was Indian. I don't know anything much more about him, but I got to stay in the book. So we'll talk. We will talk about him.
He is the one who. There's a whole book that your mom had, and I don't know if Travis got it or you got it. It's like a Bible,
Hmm.
and he started the Church of God.
Okay. Yeah, we have it.
Okay.
We don't have it, but I got to call
It's in
Trudy.
that house.
Yeah, I got to get Trudy to get me one. But anyway, so all of we have historical facts that trace us back as being the people.
Yeah.
We also have historical facts that these people from out of the Caucasus Mountains in Turkey have supplanted and rooted themselves in Jerusalem and claiming themselves to be Jews. They fake it, they dress a certain way, and they have fooled the world into believing that they are Jews. There's Henry Louis Gates, everybody else that has run all kind of DNA has proven facts that these
They're
people
not Jews.
that are not Jews, right?
They try and get the money off the commercial.
And they're making a lot of money off of it, right? We've also have come to the realization that they have taken for the most part, the white man has taken Christianity and kidnapped it from us. So we have fell in love with their religion. So if we let's go to Deuteronomy 28 and let's read through that.
Can I real quick?
Yes.
Because you were
Lauren, bring it back
talking
on course.
about how people are so used to doing things that like they make the Bible fit them.
Yeah.
We know that happened during slavery. The slave master was like, "This is what you're gonna do," and
they
use
make
some
the
Bible
Bible.
verse to try to back his point of view and to get us to be submissive. But in Mark 7, it says, and this came out of Isaiah because he says,
The traditions of men.
right. Isaiah prophesied to you, hypocrites, as it is written, this people honors me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. In vain do they worship me, teaching as doctrines of the commandments of men. You leave the commandment of God and hold the tradition of men. And so as we learn who we are and what we should be doing, and we know the commandment is to keep, that fourth commandment is keep the Sabbath, we should forsake the commandments of the traditions of men with like all out forsake it, because we realize it is not biblical. And so that
You said the commandments of men.
yeah, the traditions of men. And
Whatever the
commandments of
tradition,
men.
no matter if it's
Not nothing to do with
Not-
these
nothing
no,
to do with
no
those.
matter if it's our grandparents,
Mhm.
our parents, our aunts, our uncles.
Thank
If the traditions don't match up, go to Acts 2.
Well,
If the traditions don't match up, then we need to stop and say, yo, we need to reset. Go to Acts 2.
see,
Everyone to
my
Acts 2.
thing is people, I'm not good with that. My thing is, Acts 8, I'm at Acts 8, so
Now go to 2.
Acts 2. People
I want to
have
show you something.
traditions, and I'm not into traditionally, just like a bunch of stuff that goes on to the church, when you got annual choir day and pastor's anniversary
birthday.
and birthday and all that.
No.
And I was
And
going to
Easter.
say
And Easter.
and Easter.
So we don't
That's-
keep
that's
we don't keep
traditional.
Easter. We don't keep Christmas.
Mhm.
We
Yeah,
don't do
see.
all those because those are pagan days. Those days are evil.
The root of them, yeah.
They're literally evil days. Actually, Christmas is the day that they worshipped
Tammuz,
Tammuz.
which you'll find in Ezekiel. where
They
the-
worship him, and they actually raised him up on Easter Day was the day that they honored him, and now we try to say we honor in Jesus, which is a false image, which is an image that's against Yah. So let's go to Acts
That's-
2,
maybe that's
verse
why
20.
they got Easter bunny. And they know it ain't got nothing to do with it.
It has nothing to do with Easter.
churches dropping eggs.
Why
out
are we
of
dropping
helicopters.
eggs out of helicopters?
Yeah, that's
Why are we
crazy.
doing an Easter egg hunt?
But
Why are we
I
doing?
will
Why are we
say-
believing in Santa Claus? And then if you tell your kids, don't tell them don't believe in Santa Claus because that will hurt their feelings. The heck with their feelings. Tell them the truth,
To hell with their feelings.
To
'cause
hell
that's
with their
what's gonna
feelings.
happen.
right?
Well, I wanna
Because they're
say
them and
that
their
you have
feelings
to be
going to
nice.
hell.
That I have learned, I want to say that thank you, that I have learned in church that Easter, we were not supposed to celebrate Easter.
Mhm.
Then why
And
do we
now-
do it?
So we did it for so long, but now if you hear people, they will say Happy Resurrection Day, not Happy.
What kind of foolishness is that?
Well, I guess they're
You're
saying
just
Happy-
trying to dress up something that's
Let me-
dirty,
let me-
putting some clean clothes on a dirty pig.
Let me finish. I guess they're saying that because they know that they shouldn't be saying
Easter.
Easter. And it wasn't, and that was not of God, but they don't.
Want to
maybe
give
they
it
don't
up?
know. No, maybe they actually don't know when the true resurrection day is, so they use it to celebrate the resurrection because we know that Jesus Christ was resurrected.
Mhm.
You believe he was resurrected?
Without a question.
Okay, so we
But-
know that he was resurrected.
But we can tell you when he was resurrected.
Okay.
It's around the same time. It's
So-
Passover.
So
So why
that's
don't
why they
why don't
say
we
happy-
celebrate
Well,
Passover?
they say Happy Passover Day. Say what
But that's
you
not
want
in
to
it.
say.
That's a
But
different.
my thing is this. For me, I don't get into all these days, even Christmas. I know that when Jesus was born, he was not born in a cold climate. He was born in a warm climate. And
So it wasn't
he
snow
was-
bells.
It wasn't snow and all that.
Jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle
I know
bells.
that the three wise men didn't walk what they said that they walked and all that. But I believe that he was born a certain day. If they want to celebrate his birthday that day,
And we know the day. We know the day.
because I don't
but
know the day.
We know
Is
the
it in
day
July or June? 'Cause that's what the
around September.
because one of the
Around
pastors
September, and it was
had said
on
it was
the
July or
it was
June.
on a feast, the feast of Shavuot. I think I got it. Sukkot.
Okay.
That was the day that he came, and what they call Sukkot is the Feast of Tabernacles,
Okay.
which means tabernacle is when he dwelt with us. that was the day that he came. He literally, the book actually tells you when he came to the earth.
And just want
And
to ask
so,
you this other.
why do we not celebrate then, but we celebrate on December the 25th? Because December the 25th was the time that they celebrated the worst, coldest day, shortest day of the year. It was the equinox, the day that the sun was born. So they say that this day is the day they represent. It's the shortest day, meaning the next day the days start getting longer. So they picked the darkest day in the calendar and said this is Jesus' birthday, the darkest day. So let's go to Acts 2. I was going to go here anyway. Acts 2, starting at verse 41.
41, that's 29. This is 41. Then those who gladly, I can't see that good.
Receive.
With my reading glasses. Then those who gladly received his word were baptized, and in that day about 3,000 souls were added to them. Then 42 says practices of the early church, and they continued steadfastly in the apostles' doctrine and
Stop
fellowship.
right there.
Okay.
The doctrine is what they believed in. They believed in the doctrine. The doctrine is Saturday worship. The doctrine is all the holy days. The doctrine, this one statement right
Breaking
here.
of bread and in prayers. Okay, that's what they put the doctrine in, as in and breaking of bread and prayers. And then 43 talks about then fear came upon every soul, and many wonders and signs were done through the apostles.
Mm-hmm. So we have laid aside the doctrine, like it's not important. I've even been in part of a church where they're like, man, here we go talking about doctrine again, like it's a bad thing. This was at the very beginning of the church when they were speaking in tongues and all the people were getting saved, right? And he preached this message. He preached the message out of Joel, which we wanted to go through. We'll go through next week, right? He went through his whole spiel, and then he said, and they all gathered so that they could, they were committed to they were committed steadfastly in the apostles' doctrine. That is so important. So what is their doctrine? The doctrine never changed. It's a new covenant. The new blood, the blood of Jesus was shed on it for us. The Holy Spirit, the Ruach, the Spirit came upon us. But that never told us to change what was already in the outline. This is Christianity tells us, this part of the book on the bottom, read and take footnotes from the top. Footnotes, like maybe we'll keep the tithes.
Because they say that's the Old Testament.
But the tithes is in the Old Testament.
No, I'm saying that's what they...
I know, they say it's old.
We
so
follow
get,
the
let's
New
do,
Testament. We don't follow the Old Testament.
But
the
he's
Old
the
Testament-
same yesterday, today, and forever, right?
Yeah, and then,
So he
you
didn't
know,
change.
The Old Testament is how the New Testament came to be. So,
Exactly.
no
And so everything that was spoken in the New Testament is cross-referenced in the Old Testament. So the book of, when you read through the Acts, Peter was preaching. He starts preaching. The exact words that he's preaching are in Joel.
Okay.
Yep.
And your Joel is different because there's a name up there.
Yes.
Joel.
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 See, also known as the book, the prophet Joel.
Okay.
All right? The same identical words. He says that, so that's why I was going back to Joel, because the whole thing is that when you listen to Jesus teach, what did Jesus say? If you love me,
Keep
We
my
keep my
commandments.
commandments
okay. So why do we not keep His commandments?
because we're sinners.
We don't even try, right? Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Saying when we were born, they said
We were sinners.
born sinners, and that's why we don't keep His commandments.
But should we give it an effort?
Yes.
Okay, so what's
if you love
if we
the
love
Lord,
Him? You say you love.
and you want to be more like Him, then you will seek Him diligently.
So what's the bracelet they used to put on?
I don't know.
What would Jesus do?
What would Jesus do? Oh yeah, okay.
Okay, so we knew what Jesus would do, right? He would get up on Sunday morning and get ready for church.
No.
No, no way possible. No way. But okay, so
He was the church. So he
no,
didn't have to
we
get-
are the church.
No, but I'm saying the church is in me.
Yes.
I'm not. When
So-
people say, "Oh, I'm coming back for a church without a spot or a wrinkle."
See,
some
then you
people
had to go
think- wait a
there.
minute. Some people think that you coming back for. He coming back for First Baptist.
Psalms 19.
Oh, he coming back for Second Baptist. No, he's coming back for a church without a spot or a wrinkle.
He ain't coming back for the church of God.
You are.
Huh?
119.
No, just
Like,
19.
What I'm saying is, we are, like you said, we are the church. He's
So
coming
you
back
said
for
you
me
said we the
without a spot
bridegroom.
or
We're the
a wrinkle.
bride, right?
Yes.
So
But he's
so
come back for me
so we're
without a
supposed
spot or a wrinkle.
so how do we get the wrinkles out?
You have to seek him diligently.
Okay,
You
so
have
if he
to
gives
study
us
his word
if he tells us to
show
do
yourself
something,
approved.
right? Okay, you haven't seen me kill anybody this week, right?
I don't know what you did. I don't know.
Hallelujah!
Our family got some deep secrets up in there.
I know you're right about that. But I didn't kill anybody. Just for a testimony for everybody who's watching. I didn't kill anybody this week. Why?
Is this not? This ain't hazelnut, right?
No.
Because I'm allergic to nuts.
Why are we sitting so close? So listen to this. Read, Neil. Psalms 19.
Wait a second, I didn't know.
You want to get over there too? Because you said we're the bridegroom, right? So, huh?
Are you going
That's
to tell
fine.
me that I'm wrong?
Oh no,
I'm
no,
not the
no.
bridegroom.
You're the
He
bride.
is the bridegroom.
He's the bridegroom. We're the
And
bride.
I'm the bride. And you're
Okay.
the bride too, whether you're a man or not.
That's
Hey,
right.
hallelujah.
All right, so 90, what?
19.
Oh, 19, I'm on 52. 20, 19. All right, I got it. 19 what?
1.
Okay. The heavens, go ahead.
The heavens declare the glory of Yah. The skies proclaim the work of his hands. Day after day they pour forth speech. Night after night they display knowledge. There is no speech or language voice where their voice is not heard. Their voice goes out into all the earth, their words to the ends of the world. In the heavens he has pitched a tent for the sun, which is like a bridegroom coming forth from his pavilion.
So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Okay,
Which is like a bridegroom coming out from his chambers. All right, go ahead. You can keep reading.
Like a champion rejoicing to run his course, it rises at one end of the heavens and makes its circuit to the other. Nothing is hidden from its heat. The law of Elohim is perfect, reviving the soul. The statutes of Elohim are trustworthy, making wise the simple. The precepts of Elohim are right, giving joy to the heart. The commandments of Elohim are radiant, giving light to the eyes. The fear of Elohim is pure, enduring forever. The ordinances of Elohim are sure and altogether righteous. They are more precious than gold. They are much more pure than gold. They are sweeter than honey from the comb. By them is your servant warned. In keeping them is your reward great. Who can discern his errors? Forgive my hidden heart faults. Keep your servant also from willful sins. May they not rule over me. Then I will be blameless, innocent of great transgression. May the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be the blessing in your sight.
let me read mine.
Go ahead, read it.
Because it's real close, only a couple of words are different. Mine, Psalms 19, titled The Works and the Words of God. To the chief musician, a psalm of David. The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament shows his handiwork. Day unto day utters speech, and night unto night reveals knowledge. There is no speech nor language where their voice is not heard. Their line has gone out through all the earth, and their words to the end of the world. In them he has set a tabernacle for the sun, which is like the bridegroom coming out of his chamber, and rejoices like a strong man to run in a race, to run its race. Its rising is from one end of heaven, and its circuit to the other end, and there is nothing hidden from this heat. The law of the Lord is perfect, converting the soul. The testimony of the Lord is sure, making wise the simple. The statutes of the Lord are right, rejoicing the heart. The commandment, is that what it says?
Commandment.
The commandments
Commandment.
of-
Okay, my eyes. The commandment of the Lord is pure, enlightening the eyes. The fear of the Lord is clean, enduring forever. The judgments of the Lord are true and righteous altogether. More to be desired are they than gold, and then it says than much fine gold, or yea, whatever. Sweeter also than honey in the honeycomb. Moreover, by them your servant is warned, and in keeping them there in great reward. Who can understand his errors? Cleanse me from secret faults. Keep back your servant also from presumptuous sins. Let them not have dominion over me. Then I shall be blameless, and I shall be innocent of great transgressions. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in your sight, O Lord, my strength and my redeemer. How many times do we have to say that?
We know that.
Yeah.
I repeat that almost every week when I.
We had to repeat it every Sunday.
But how? But here's the deal: we repeat the one verse,
But we didn't read.
but we don't remember the rest.
Yeah.
The rest of the verse is telling us if you really say you love God, and you really love Him, like you would start to keep His commandments, because His law, statutes, and commandments draw you back to the Son.
They're saying
And draw you back to the Son, meaning Him. Now
Jesus,
what's Jesus' real name?
Yahushua.
Yahushua.
They say in the heavens pitch a tent for the sun, which is like the bridegroom coming out of his chamber. And they're saying it rises from one end to the other of the heavens. Nothing is hidden from its heat. So there's the bridegroom. And they're saying, like, the first thing they talk about is the law. The next verse, the law of the Lord is perfect, reviving the soul. Mm-hmm. So where's the law at? We have to look and see what the law is.
We have to find the law.
From here, we have to go back and look at the law. We can't be like, all right, let's look at what our new law is.
What are written before times are written for our learning, acknowledgement. What's that?
Understanding.
Romans 15 and 1.
And something else that was said, and I know we're gonna get there, but to not be the borrower and you're the lender and the head and not the tail.
That's what I said.
Right. So you know where that comes from?
No.
We're gonna get there.
We're gonna get there. So we're gonna show you where it comes from and how out of
I got
pocket
it written
it
down
is.
somewhere because she used to say it to me so many times. Bible says,
Okay, 15:4.
15.
Romans 15:4.
Want me to read?
Yeah, read it.
For whatever things were written before were written for our learning, that we, through the patience and comfort of the scriptures, right, might have hope. Keep going.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
15:4. everything written beforehand. In other words, everything written in the Old Testament
Okay.
is written for our what?
Understanding.
Instruction.
Oh.
Instruction.
Instruction.
So if you have a car, a brand new car, right? They give you this leather bound book, right? And you start, the first thing you would do after you sat in the car, you fell in love with it, and you signed the contract for it, you open up this book and you're looking at it like, oh, wow. Look.
You ain't open that book.
No, if you got an 18, 20, $30,000 car, you probably are looking into it a little bit. But if you don't, you're more apt to destroy something in the car. Like you may,
Thank you.
maybe I wasn't aware that I'm supposed to put super unleaded gas in the car, and I just put regular in the car. So I just what happens?
Erode your pistons.
Erodes your pistons. Okay, so you start corrupting the car. In due time, that car will die. You'll take it to the motor vehicle department, and they'll put something up its butt, sort of like going to get an inspection, right?
And check the emissions.
Right, and they'll say, "Oh, this thing's not firing right," all because you didn't put the right gas in. Yeah, not good, right? Then you got to go through this major procedure if the car is still capable of being fixed. The problem with us as people is that we've been putting regular gas in the car as opposed to putting Supreme unleaded in it. And so now we all jacked up, and now we got to get it refixed. If we read the instructions, we wouldn't be where we are right now.
Then we would know.
The problem where we are right now, the problem with Judah, why we're getting beat down, why we're being abused constantly, is because we haven't followed the instructions. The instructions will bring life, or the instructions will bring death. If you do the instructions, he will put on you a blessing that you can't outrun. If you are disobedient, and this is us, right? If you are disobedient, he will put on a curse that you will not be able to outrun. Deuteronomy 28. So let's go here. This is going to be our last.
So who put on the curse? God?
Yes.
Say it again.
Deuteronomy 28.
No. Her name.
God, Yah.
Here's
Yah has placed.
the names.
Okay, thank you.
And this is what we believe, if you want to read that.
Okay.
So you can take that with you. So you can
Okay,
keep it as a
thank you.
reference.
Now,
So let's go to Deuteronomy 28 because you brought this up earlier.
is that what she's going to say where that stuff came from?
Yep, you gotta read it.
Genesis.
Everybody
Exodus,
knows we don't know where it came
Deuteronomy.
from.
So
No, Leviticus.
when you realize, and you've already made testimony of this, when you realize that we are the people, then you start looking at the Old Testament from a different slant, because you start seeing these stubborn, stiff-necked people acting like brights, right? 28.
Okay.
Start acting like our family, and you'd be like, that sounds just like something that Uncle Shadrach would do, or that sounds just like something that Aunt Hannah would do. You'd be like, you sure that
27 or 28?
28? You sure they're not our people? And the more you read through it, you're going to start seeing, the more you see us. If you can get this out of your head, that those white people are not us. Because we're constantly believing that the white people are us. Right? So when we read Abraham, we see, or Moses, we see a white man going to a white pharaoh saying, "Let my people go." We know that's a lie from the pit of hell, right?
I ain't never seen no white people. Never seen no white people.
So let's read. We're gonna.
Which one?
It's 68 verses to this book.
No, which
This chapter.
Chapter 28.
28 what verse?
Start at 1.
We're gonna read the whole chapter.
And I don't like pulling things out of context and just pulling one verse.
Can I read it? Because I don't know why I got all this stuff highlighted.
Oh, you got
That
it
means
highlighted?
you
Oh,
read
yeah. That means you've been there before. You probably didn't read.
Yeah.
Probably don't have. Let me see if you got this highlighted down here on the next page.
Probably not.
No, you probably didn't.
I got this checked off.
Yeah,
before.
they don't take,
One show back.
Christians don't take you there.
I know about you.
Okay, if it's highlighted, it's probably because I read it.
You read it? All right, all right.
Okay.
And it shall come to pass.
This is chapter 28. It says, promised blessings for obedience.
hmm
For
And
it shall-
now, before you read this,
Okay.
you're- this is for us. This is written to us.
Okay.
And you're going to find that even when we were in Acts 2, Acts 2 wasn't written to the people.
It was written to us.
It was written to us. He said that he would save his people. Okay, so
So that the people there were us, right?
Right.
I mean,
but but I want you to get this get this into all of our heads that even in Acts 1, Acts 2, when he said that all shall be saved, that wasn't written for everybody. That was written to us.
well,
It was written.
Who's everybody?
All his people.
No, but you said well, all shall
Wasn't
be
written to
saved.
everybody.
Huh?
You said it wasn't written for everybody. She said, "Who's everybody?"
Right. It was all his people that had gathered from all the different nations. They all came to Jerusalem for the feast. That's why it's so important that we that we follow the line of track.
So he
When
was
Jesus-
all-
when Yahshua-
Israel.
All Israel,
he was
all the Israelites,
he was talking
not
to
just the
everybody that was
Jews,
there.
not just the tribe of Dan, not just the tribe of and all these different tribes. It was all the tribes coming together, right? And then those that sojourned with them. So somebody that joined forces with them and said, "I want to be a part of this," because no one else ever had a god. They all had fake, false gods. There's only God, the Creator, the Most High, only came down to one people. He only came down to black people. Even when Yahushua, Jesus came, he said, "I only came for the black people."
For Israel.
For Israel. You can't say black.
He may as well said that because he said, "I only came for Israel."
There are other black people who are not Israel.
Okay, right. Yeah,
you
you're
can't
you're
say
you're
that.
right. You're right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
see,
So I stand corrected. He said, "I only come for Israel."
Because if he only
And-
came from the black people, what happened to all my Indian ancestors? Where they at?
Well,
we're
we're actually believing that the Indians were a part of the lost tribe of Israel.
Okay.
Okay, so when we're spread, the 12 tribes are spread to the four corners of the world, and so there's not a spot that we weren't there. So even when they came to America, we were here. We were already here. We were here before they got here. We may have been. That's why when you look at the writings on the walls in the caves in America before the Americans got here, it's Hebrew writing.
Okay.
When you look at the ships that were brought over, the slave ships, what was carved on the floor was Hebrew writing. They supplanted us, replaced us, and moved us here. And this is going to show evidence of that. Read.
Okay.
And it shall come to pass.
Now it shall come to pass, if you diligently obey the voice of the Lord your God, to observe carefully on his commandments, which I command you today, that the Lord your God will set you high above all nations of the earth.
Okay, now we got that, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we pay attention and keep his commandments. And we know that the initial commandments are the 10 commandments.
Yes.
So we know number 4 is keeping Sabbath, right? That's important. It's so important that God said at one time that, you know what? These people are stiff-necked, they're stubborn. Maybe if I can just get them to do one thing, just keep the Sabbath. And they refuse to do it. Okay, so we're on the same page. right?
And all these blessings shall come upon you and overtake you, because you obey the voice of the Lord your God. Blessed shall you be in the city, and blessed shall you be in the country. Blessed shall be the fruit of your body, the produce of your ground, and the increase of your herds, the increase of your cattle, and the offspring of your flocks. Blessed shall be your basket and your kneading bowl. Blessed shall you be when you come in. Blessed shall you be when you go out. The Lord will cause your enemies who rise against you to be defeated before you. Oh, wait a minute. I lost my place. Now, where am I at?
Verse 7.
Read it before. The Lord will cause your enemies who rise against you to be defeated before your face. They shall come out against you one way and flee before you 7 ways. The Lord will command the blessings on you in your storehouse and in all to which you set your hand, and he will bless you in the land which the Lord your God is giving you. The Lord will establish you as a holy people to himself, just as he was sworn to you. If you keep the commandments of the Lord your God and walk in his ways.
Okay, so hold up for a minute.
If you keep his commandments, walk in his ways.
And he's going to bless everything you can think of. Your herds, your bank account, everything. You're going to be just blessed if you keep his commandments. Right? He makes it so clean cut. Right? Clear is not, there's nothing that's hard about this. If you keep these 10 commandments, if you keep the commandments, you keep his laws, his statutes, you're going to be blessed. Go ahead.
Then all peoples of the earth shall see that you are called by the name of the Lord, and they shall be afraid of you. And the Lord will grant you plenty of goods, and the fruit of your body, and the increase of your livestock, and in the produce of your ground, and in the land of which the Lord swore to your fathers to give you. The Lord will open to you his good treasure, the heavens, to give the rain to your land in the season, and to bless all the work of your hand. You shall lend to many. You shall lend to many, it says, nations, but shall not borrow. And that's why I guess she says that. And the Lord will make you the head and not the tail. You shall be above only and not be beneath. If you heed the commandments of the Lord your God, which I command you today, and are careful to observe them. That was what, the 13. Reading?
Mm-hmm.
I ain't trying to read all.
No, read the next one. You got to read the next one, though.
So you shall not turn aside from any of the words which I command you this day, to the right hand or to the left. To go after other gods to serve them.
Okay, so
then the other one is promise curses for disobedience.
Okay, so that was all obedience. 14 verses. He laid it in. See, the Bible says we are without excuse.
Mm-hmm.
Some people say, well, reading the book, it's got all the these and thous, and it's got to be dumbed down for me because I can't understand. No, you can understand this.
No, I couldn't understand that before back in the day when we had them Bibles.
But you can understand this, right?
Yeah.
This is very clear. It's very simple.
Mm-hmm. Now your book here says the same thing that I said?
Yes.
Okay.
Same thing.
It's the same Bible, it just has the names.
The name will change. So if I go to verse 12, it's not going to say Lord.
It says Yah.
It's Elohim.
It says
Probably say Elohim.
Y'all was gonna
Yahuwah.
read it.
Oh, it's
Yahuwah.
the Yahuwah.
Now, I know.
Here's my Bible.
Okay.
And I'm going to read from that Bible when I start.
Yahweh.
Verse 12. Okay.
Yahweh shall open up your, and this is his signature, his goods, treasure,
Mm-hmm.
the heavens, everywhere here, and we preach this, the Alatoph. You're going to see the Alatoph. They've never come up with a word to, this is Hebrew right there, to interpret that. All
What
right,
is
they,
that?
that's the Aleph Toph. That's
It's the
Alpha
first-
and Omega.
Alpha and Omega.
The beginning. Okay. That's what they come up to then.
So-
Alpha and Omega, beginning and end.
So we preached this last week. It's like his signature. He put a little A to Z in there to let you know that this is him talking. It's
But he
throughout the
didn't-
book.
He didn't write it.
No, this is in the original writing.
Okay.
Okay, but it's been deleted. It's not in the book. Says not to add nor subtract not one dot nor one tittle from what the crossing of the T out of the book. But yet the book that we read has that missing throughout the whole book.
Because they keep changing it. I think
So-
they have new Bibles that totally delete some things anyway.
Okay.
Based on things that we were not supposed to do or engage in.
Now,
Totally wiped out of the book.
so here's 14 verses telling us how he's going to bless us. We've already established the fact that we are the people. We've already established that this book is not written by man but written by Yah, right? By men inspired by Yah, right? This particular book was written by Moses himself, right? We know that he penned it, but it was God breathed. So we know that this was words straight out of the book from Yah. Okay, so let's read 15.
You got it, man?
But it shall come to pass, if you will not hearken unto the voice of Yahuwah, to guard to do all his commandments and his statutes which I command you this day, that all these curses shall come upon you and overtake you. Cursed shall you be in the city, and cursed shall you be in the field. Cursed shall be your basket and your store. Cursed shall be the fruit of your body and the fruit of your land, the increase of your kind and the flocks of your sheep. Cursed shall you be when you come in, and cursed shall you be when you go out. Yahuwah shall send upon you cursing, vexation, and rebuke in all that you set your hand unto for to do, until you be destroyed, and until you perish quickly, because of the wickedness of your doings, whereby you have forsaken me. Yahuwah shall make the pestilence cleave unto you, until he have consumed you from off the land, whither you go to possess it. Yahuwah shall smite you with a consumption, and with a fever, and with an inflammation, and with an extreme burning, and with the sword, and with blasting, and with mildew, and they shall pursue you until you perish. And your heaven that is over your head shall be brass, and the earth that is under you shall be iron. Yahuwah will make the rain of your land powder and dust. From heaven shall it come down upon you until you be destroyed. Yahuwah shall cause you to be smitten before your enemies. You shall go out one way against them, and flee 7 ways before them, and shall be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth.
Verse 26. Okay, so now we're seeing the opposite side. If we're disobedient. You understand what it meant by brass? Verse 23. Over your head shall be brass, and under your feet like iron.
Over your head shall be. It says, "In your heavens, which are over your head, shall be bronze,
Mm-hmm.
and the earth which is under your feet shall be iron." So the heavens over your head shall be bronze. No, I don't get that.
Okay, so if you polish brass, right, and it shines, it'll burn on you. So even the sun will be burning you.
Okay.
Iron is when you take an iron pan and you let it sit outside. let the iron pan sit outside and put and step on it. Right? Your feet will feel like they.
That's cruel and unusual punishment.
Yeah.
That's torture. That's abuse.
It's abuse, right? That you really. That's the perfect analogy. It's abuse, and it's abuse because of your disobedience. All right. So what were some of the other things that he pulled out there on us?
Your rain, the rain of your land, powder and dust. That sounds like when it's there's no rain. What is it called? It's a drought, and the wind just keeps blowing sand and dust and around. Yeah.
I remember as a child growing, having a farm, and we were growing stuff, but if it didn't rain, nothing grew, but the dirt looked like it was dying. And I mean, it looked like the dirt is dying. It's just laid there. It's like nothing's coming out of it.
It says the Lord will make the plague cling to you until He has consumed you from the land which you are going to possess. The Lord will strike you with consumption, with fever, with inflammation,
What consumption
with severe
is.
burning.
What is consumption?
Well,
Sound like a cowboy.
consumption is diarrhea, inflammation. You got high blood. So now you.
So you got high blood pressure.
Yeah. Well, that's what
It's coming over to
inflammation is.
life.
All kinds of.
But these are the things from disobedience. And you said the high. That must have been the ruach. That was the spirit of God speaking out.
I got high blood pressure.
Okay, because that's something that, for the most part, in the whole entire world, who suffers the most with high blood pressure?
Black people.
Why?
And we have the most. We have the most heart attacks.
Yeah.
Because
We're disobedient.
if
We're the chosen people.
We're the chosen people.
Chastise.
So we're going
we get
to suffer
chastised
more.
first,
Yes.
and I mean it's so obvious.
But what are we being disobedient to? That's
We're gonna
bringing
keep
this
going
stuff
to. We're
to
gonna
us?
keep reading it.
We're being disobedient.
It said the commandments.
Because we don't follow the commandments. It's a
Yeah.
sin not to follow the commandments.
And it's the food that we eat. We were told not to eat.
Yeah,
That's
but
one
now,
of them.
now, when they say about the swine,
We'll talk about that. That's a nasty. Okay.
I'm going to say because, they Christian people that go to church, compare the Old Testament to the New Testament. In the Old Testament, something was wrong with those swine. Those swine were
There was
cursed.
something wrong with them. There still is.
And looking like your dad from back in the day. Right? That there was something in them, and then he put them into something and drowned them. What was it that he made them?
He said demons. He said demons to the
Yes,
swine.
That was in the New Testament.
In the New Testament.
No, in the Old Testament, the swine had something in them that was bad. You weren't supposed to touch them. And in the New Testament, I guess he killed them. Killed that off.
Well, see,
See, go
That's what
back
they
to
tell you
that
in the
book.
church.
and that's why I'm Hebrew. I'm not a Christian.
But
Because
everything,
even that has never changed. If he said, "I don't like this and don't want you to eat it," he
No.
never changed that.
the swine were possessed for some reason.
But it's not just the
And
swine.
then he
Catfish is
Killed them.
illegal.
Illegal.
The shrimp is illegal.
Illegal. Why
Yeah.
say illegal?
Because anytime you're breaking the law is illegal, right?
Wow. Okay.
If you're breaking the law, it's illegal,
Now
right?
you messing with my food.
You know,
We gotta come back to this one. Let's slow up a little bit. Are you ready for all that?
Alright, we're gonna slow down. Let's finish it.
You ready for
I'm
this?
slow down.
Right,
I was
yeah.
going to say that's finished.
That's
it.
finished.
The doctor just got them telling me I got to eat more seafood.
There's seafood you can
Stay
eat.
away
You
from.
can eat salmon.
You can eat salmon. You can eat
whitefish,
trout. All
yeah.
kind of fish you can eat.
Okay.
But if you listen to your doctor, he'll probably tell you stay away from shellfish.
No, he said stay away from red meat. And he said I can eat as much chicken as I want
Mm-hmm.
and eat seafood, but stay away from red meat. And he didn't say nothing about the pork. He didn't even,
Really?
He
What
didn't
kind of
even
doctor is
bring that
That's
up.
red meat.
Oh,
That
oh.
counts as
Consider
red meat.
red meat.
Yeah, that
It's
counts as
the
red meat.
No,
diabetic.
is he a white doctor?
It's a she.
Is she white?
No, she's something, but she's not. Seriously, she's not white. But
But she ain't
something.
black.
White Indian.
No,
But I
she's
mean-
another of another. What
When
you
they
call
say
it?
red-
Nationality.
When they say red meat, though, that
They're putting the pig in there.
Yeah.
Well, the pork
There's
is
the
red
other
meat.
red-
The pork is white meat.
It's not to
That's
us.
a
It's not meat.
commercial.
Well, let's get.
Let's
Whatever,
get back.
that's the-
Well, I know
Where were
my-
we at,
My
Jordan?
mom doesn't eat any meat anymore.
That's probably the healthier thing right now with the way
Yeah.
the meat is in general. But
Do you know where you're
I
at?
can't
I
eat
like
the salad either these days.
can't you what?
The
So
salad.
I know.
Oh.
I know all the
And I'm
greens
allergic to
are.
nuts, so you keep that.
Oh
over
my!
Oh, I'm
there.
sorry.
goodness.
Hon, what are you doing? She said she's allergic to nuts. And she's sitting next to me, you eat nuts.
Well, not that type of nut, you know. But those nuts. What you go ahead? I'm sorry.
Pistachios. All right.
So you left off at what?
26.
26.
26.
And your carcass shall be meat unto all fowls of the air, and unto the beasts of the earth, and no man shall fray them away. Yahweh will smite you with the botch of Mitzrayim, which is Egypt, and with the tumors, and with the scab, and with the itch,
Yeah.
whereof you cannot be healed. Yahweh shall smite you with madness, and blindness, and astonishment of heart. And you shall grope at noonday as the blind gropes in darkness, and you shall not prosper in your ways, and you
That's
shall
where we are as a black people.
be only oppressed and spoiled evermore, and no man shall save you.
Wait a minute, where are we at as a black
29.
No,
Oh.
I said, what are we as a
So
black
that's what you
people?
read.
That-
Okay, so
Sometimes you read this.
And you shall
you read through 28 and 29.
noonday.
You should be like a madman. You should be blind
You read the same words.
in blindness,
Oh yeah.
astonishment of heart.
Figure out what they're.
Like you're like
Heart. It's like
That's
sounds
not
good
how
to
we
me,
are. That's how
but
white
it's like a
people see us,
confusion of
though.
mind.
Yeah, that's a
But
mess.
that's not how
no,
we
that's the
are.
way we are. Like when we ride through the neighborhood, right? We ride through our own neighborhood. We're scared at our own selves. Right? Like you see a Chinese person going through Chinatown afraid. But we go through Camden, we're like, lock the windows, don't say anything, pull up to the red light, don't look to the right, don't look at them because you know how we
There's a
are.
cop over there, so
This-
just
Well,
sit
see,
down.
well, see,
But
see, now I am.
I see a cop.
Let me see. I can't say I'm afraid of my own people, but I am afraid of my own people who are living their lives. I'm gonna say, as I try to live mine unto the Lord, they're living theirs unto the devil, unto Satan, and because they have allowed Satan to take hold of their mind.
well, what does this,
Yes,
what
I'm
does
gonna
it say?
roll up my window and
Because
lock my
you shall grope by noonday as a blind gropeth in dark. They're just walking around like zombies. Some of us this.
That's, and it's
Just-
getting worse, but now it's like you're seeing 9 times out of 10 a white person is shooting up the school,
Because
not a black person.
the curse is being.
And you know, I just put something on Facebook yesterday or maybe the day before about how I'm tired of hearing about black people being shot by the cops or shot by white people, whatever. I don't want to hear that. What I want to hear is, what are you going to do about it? Is there a rally? Is there a march? Are there going to be meetings to talk to us as a black people, a forum or whatever, where we can get information and learn how to protect ourselves more and how to stop this which is going against us. But I don't want to hear, oh, just because I was black, I got shot.
Okay,
Just
so
because I was black, I got locked up. Just because I
we're
was
gonna
black.
we're gonna finish
Because-
this,
because-
but listen.
As from a law enforcement perspective, more white people are arrested every year than black people.
But percentage
More
wise,
white
they're not.
people.
Percentage wise, they're not.
There's
Well,
more
what you
like-
mean percentage wise?
Because
there's more white people in jail.
there are white people,
Statistically,
right?
there's more white people in jail than black people.
But there's more white people
Not
in the world.
statistically,
Yeah.
no, but
Well-
by numbers there are.
Mm-hmm.
But the percentages, if you go by percentage of black people that are arrested and convicted, their percentage is higher than it is for
So
white
to give
people.
an
So
example,
just
So,
here's a quick
wrongfully
here's a quick little
right?
thing. There's 10 white guys here. 3 of them might get arrested.
There you go.
There's 2 black guys. Both of them get arrested.
Yeah,
So there's
Okay.
more white people, but the only black guys that were there did get
they
arrested.
got arrested too. Yeah.
It-
And
Okay,
last
so-
night, 5 people got shot in Paulsboro. I don't know who they were or nothing about that yet.
So go back to 29 and let's pick it up again.
And you shall grope at noonday, as the blind gropes in darkness, and you shall not prosper in your ways, and you shall only be oppressed and spoiled forevermore, and no man shall save you.
That means no one will rescue you. No Martin Luther King, no Malcolm X, no.
As many of them as come
Anybody
along,
come
it's
up,
not going to work.
it just doesn't work.
And they always call him the Black Messiah.
Yeah, and that's
Always.
literally the FBI tagged us. Like one person would come up and look like they were doing good. They said he's the Black Messiah, kill him.
It will be oppressed and after that.
Okay, so
Spoiled evermore.
we'll be spoiled forever. We'll never. That's why we can't. We get a job. We open up a business
Spoiled.
and we can't seem to succeed
Spoil our kids.
because this is part of our penalty.
I think this means spoiled.
Okay.
Like,
I don't think that's a good analogy.
Well, it's
Because
in a
like,
big picture. There's like you find 1 or 2 people that are successful, but in the big picture,
I'm saying the big picture.
the big picture, like you got 100 of us.
We are jealous of ourselves, and
Well,
like
that's-
crabs in the basket.
But
Exactly.
well, that's part of the
Well, why?
part of the
part of
problem.
the curse.
But
why
that's
have
part of the right.
Okay, because maybe it's part of the curse, like you
We
said.
gotta get to the bottom of the curse.
Right.
All right, let's. This is 68 verses, so we're not halfway there
What
yet.
time is it? Because I can't.
It's 3 o'clock.
I got
3 o'clock.
Okay.
All right, let's read
Because
through.
we don't celebrate holidays. We'll take my mom out today for Mother's Day.
Okay.
Oh, that's nice.
That's
Thou shalt-
tomorrow. But
And you shall.
Now listen to this.
you
Listen.
shall-
We're at 30. You shall betroth the woman, and another man shall lie with her. You shall build a house, and you shall not dwell therein. You shall plant a vineyard, and you shall not gather the grapes thereof. Your ox shall be slain before your eyes, and you shall not eat thereof. Your ass shall be violently taken away from before your face, and shall not be restored to you. Your sheep shall be given unto your enemies, and you shall have none to rescue them. Your sons and your daughters shall be given unto another people, and your eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in your hand. The fruit of your land and all your labors shall a nation which you know not eat up, and you shall be only oppressed and crushed always, so that you shall be mad for the sight of your eyes which you shall see.
What you just said yesterday, today. You said you saw. I don't want to see it again.
Yeah.
I'm mad just looking at this,
Yep.
but it keeps coming back at you.
He's coming. Yahuwah shall smite you in the knees and in the legs with a sore botch that cannot be healed, from the sole of your
Gout.
foot unto the top of your head.
She's calling it out.
And
Yeah.
cancer too.
Gout,
Yeah.
cancer.
Yahuwah shall bring you and your king, which you shall set over you, unto a nation which neither you nor your fathers have known, and there shall you serve other Elohim, wood and stone.
Okay, so let me stop for a minute, because we always setting up somebody in a king, right? We're always setting somebody up that's not godly.
Yeah, like
Even
I
our
said that
preachers.
I said that about Bill Cosby. Here they want to say, "Oh well, Bill
I'm gonna set one
Cosby
in
didn't
for
do
everybody that doesn't like it. Our recent president, Obama.
Obama.
People
We
ain't
set
gonna
him
like
up
that.
as a king.
Well, see, I only set him up as a king.
No, we literally
I mean,
like
he was the king our nation.
we thought that he was going to
Save us.
or take us to the next
Help
level.
us, and
You know what? We're worse
anything.
off now than we were before him.
But
It was one of the first things
if
you said
read
about him.
all the
freed
things
the
that
gay
he did
Yeah.
do a lot. But he's not.
He's
see,
still
this,
not.
This,
none,
this is what I want to say.
go ahead.
He did. Okay, I liked Obama. I cannot say I agreed with everything that he did, especially when it comes to abortion and
That's
you
huge,
know,
though. That's
And-
not to
In the gay marriage.
yeah, not you know. I
That's huge.
He said two of the worst things that God that you can imagine, and put it up in front and said,
Okay.
you guys can marry you guys.
Wait a
and-
minute, because
Go.
are you? You know.
I am not gay, no.
But
and that is a whole long story, but I have a YouTube video that I will show you.
But what I wanted to say is, if you were, not to offend you, because
I want you
like,
to say what you want to say.
because
You don't get offended.
no, I'm
I don't
saying
get
because like I didn't like him approving of the gay marriage, and the reason why is because my Bible says that man shall not lay with man.
I have a
then,
question. Where's your
what-
Bible say that at?
So woman should. Well, okay.
Because me and Lauren were just talking
No,
about it.
he's saying he agrees with you.
I agree with you. It says it in
But-
Leviticus, and the
I
chapter.
would say I can look it up in the back here and then find it.
Wait. The chapter
then tell
before
you-
that. The chapter before it tells you not to eat pig.
Okay. I ain't say I didn't come over here and say I was holier than that.
No,
No.
I'm
I'm
wrong.
a
Just
sinner,
like
right?
we're
He's
all.
we're all sinners.
We're wrong.
We
We're
are
wrong.
Sinner.
And
But
we've
trust
been
me,
for almost all our
My
lives.
mom
yeah.
my mom used to make me a ham for my birthday, and I eat the whole thing.
Ew, that's nasty.
I know.
I didn't.
Okay, so
Nasty.
I was worse than anybody.
I haven't eaten pork chops in a long time, but I'm just
And
saying.
you're good. I'm
But
not
what I was trying to
arguing with
see, she made me lose track of what I was trying to say because I wanted to make a comment on that.
but we want to raise a king up, and so
No, we don't.
yes we do.
Well, we
Yes,
tried.
we do.
We tried.
We want somebody to try to help us out of the situation.
The reason
We
why-
don't want we don't want to be killed every day by the white man or
But
by
the
the police
Messiah
officer.
already
So-
here. We just don't want to follow his command.
We don't want to follow his commandment. So we'd rather follow Obama than Jesus.
Well, because Obama
Because-
didn't tell us to stop doing all this stuff.
Right.
Well,
so anyway,
uh,
just read the book.
Yeah, let's just
Right.
keep reading. Let's keep reading.
Right? And so
So we're at 37.
so now we're at 36 because something comes up right here at the end of 36.
you better not tell me you like Trump either. I'm going to slap you with my Bible.
Read 36. Read,
Yeah,
We are
don't-
not Trump
We are
fans
not
over
Trump
here.
fans.
read the end of 36.
Weird.
Okay,
Y'all
Yahuwah shall
fans.
bring you and your king, which you shall set over you, unto a nation which neither you nor your fathers have known, and there shall you serve other Elohim, wood and stone.
Okay, so at this particular time, the only nation that was not known was the United States.
What you mean not known?
No one knew of America. Everyone else, all the
He's
rest.
talking about back here. In,
Back-
Oh, in
so-
Deuteronomy.
So in Deuteronomy, he says, I will send you to a nation that is not known.
You've never been to.
And you will go there and you will serve a God,
another God.
another God. A God with wood and stone. Okay, go ahead, read.
And
Something
you-
to think about.
And you shall become an astonishment, a proverb, and
Nigger.
a byword among all nations, whither Yahuwah shall send you.
Everywhere we go, we're a nigger. Everywhere we go, we're a speck or whatever.
That's
Whatever.
Going back when we were.
Wherever, in Japan, in China, in Russia, wherever we go, we're a byword. Here come another one of those spooks.
In Africa.
In Africa, even literally in Africa, we have been picked out. Only one people in the nation,
in the world.
in the world matches this.
Let me,
Only one people, and that's us.
let me ask you this question.
Yes. Because we're
I don't know
going
how
to
to really say it, but is this going to be like a lot of negativity with black and white? Because I don't like that. You know what I mean? Like
this.
some people will, like, let's say you're a white supremacist and you're preaching about all the good stuff about white people and all the bad stuff about black people. But I don't want to hear, not to say that you're wrong, so don't get me wrong, not to say that you're wrong, but I just don't always want to hear how we are put down because we are black. Because I feel like not everybody feels that way. A lot of people do, but a lot of people don't. And I feel like as black people, the shadows are always going to be there. And the shackles have been rearranged or changed to hold us back. But there's so much that we can do that we could not do before to get ahead.
Who's the title of the book in your Bible? You said like right at the beginning on chapter 15,
Deuteronomy
right?
25, the
15.
beginning.
What did it say the title was?
What, this is 28.
28.
28.
Let's say right there.
Verse 28 says, promise blessings for obedience.
And then 15, right above 15.
15 or what?
No, right here. 28,
Oh,
15.
28,
15.
Promise curses for disobedience.
That's why it's not
It's not
It don't
about
have to
the
do
black,
with black
white,
or
and
white.
disobedience.
Yeah.
and that's all this is.
But
And,
I'm
and
saying we have been ever
well, wait a
since
minute.
way
Wait a minute.
back
this
when.
this is only pointing out why we're in the situation we're in.
It's not
If-
even saying
if-
that white people are
This is
uh
they're not the enemy.
are the
We're our own enemy.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Right.
getting at.
This is us because of our disobedience.
Okay.
It's not because
they're just
'cause-
the people that Yahuwah has used to bring
At this moment.
At this moment,
to bring this to help this
There's
to
different
have
people
to
in this.
bring
Right?
this
Yeah, we
forth.
could read through.
we identified who he's talking to, right? We identified the pluses.
Okay.
You'd be a blessing, blah blah blah. Right? Now we're identifying the negatives. This is not pointing at anybody saying it's your fault that we're in this situation. No, this is our fault. And we're going to get into it a little bit more, but we don't want to be in denial either.
Yeah.
And act like, no, this is just, none of this is actually happening. No,
Okay,
it
like
says it
you're
in the book.
saying It's our fault.
Oh, it's our fault.
But what I was saying is how people, blacks get on the news and it's always the white man's fault. The white man did this to us. The white man did that to us.
We're taking ownership of it.
We're taking,
We're
now,
not taking.
one of the
That's
women
not-
that come here is a white lady.
Okay.
My son's married to a white wife,
Okay.
girl, lady, female, right?
Woman. Go ahead.
Woman.
Okay.
I'll get it right sooner or later, right? So we're not bashing white people.
Okay.
We're just calling it for what we see it right here. They haven't even, and it's more just saying to our people right now, we got to get it right. And this is what this is all about, is us getting it right.
Okay.
We're worshiping on the day that he called us to worship. That we're reading the book and studying what he's asked us to read and study. That we're calling him by his name, the way he asked us to call him by his name. Is doing it the right way. Reset. Go back and say, okay, you guys, I don't care if you're my mom, my aunt, my uncle, my grandfather. If you were wrong, we're trying to get it right. Because I can't live by what you did. I can't live by what our grandparents did, our great-grandparents did. I can only look at the word and say, oh, I got to do this because I was doing it wrong. Okay, so where we
But
at?
we all do believe that Jesus Christ. Now, how do I say it again?
Yahusha.
Yahusha. We all believe that he was dead.
Mm-hmm.
and rose again on the third day.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we all believe that he
We
went
can't
away
get
to
into
prepare a place just for us, and that's in heaven.
No.
No, we don't
Well,
believe
It's
that.
not in
I can say that.
We do believe
well,
that
we
he
do
went
believe he
to-
prepared a place in heaven, but he's going to bring heaven
Heaven down here.
here.
Right.
And
We ain't
that's-
going to heaven.
that's in
We're
the
not
word.
going there. He's coming. He's
Now,
coming
that's-
back with his.
That might pose a problem, but we can talk about that
Yeah,
later.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
like a whole different.
Come on, let's go. Let's
Can we
let's keep reading.
Request, can we just read all the way through?
All right,
Yeah.
no more stop.
We have
Okay,
No
okay.
more stopping.
Yeah, okay.
No more
verses.
stopping
Alright,
because
alright.
we got to eat
37.
too.
Okay.
Well, she don't want to read all the 37.
Oh, she don't
I'll
mind.
And you should, and you shall become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations whither Yahuwah shall send you. You shall carry much seed into the field, and shall gather but little in, for the locust shall consume it. You shall plant vineyards and dress them, but shall neither drink of the wine nor gather the grapes, for the worms
Just give
shall
us that
eat them.
highlight where you at every now and then.
Okay. 40.
Okay.
You shall have olive trees throughout all your coasts, but you shall not anoint yourself with the oil, for your olive shall cast his fruit. You shall beget sons and daughters, but you shall not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity. All your trees and fruit of your land shall the locust consume. The strangers that is within you shall get up above you very high, and you shall come down very low.
44.
44. He shall lend to you, and you shall not lend to him. He shall be the head, and you shall be the tail. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon you, and shall pursue you, and overtake you, till you be destroyed, because you hearken not unto the voice of Yahuwah, to guard his commandments and his statutes which he commanded you. And they shall be upon you for a sign and for a wonder, and upon your seed forever. Because you serve not Yahuwah with joyfulness and with gladness of heart for the abundance of all things.
48.
Therefore shall you serve your enemies which Yahuwah shall send against you in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon your neck until he have destroyed you. Yahuwah shall bring a nation against you from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flies, a nation whose tongue you shall not understand, a nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young. And he shall eat the fruit of your cattle and the fruit of your land, until you be destroyed, which also shall not leave you either grain, wine, or oil, or the increase of your kind, or flocks of your sheep, until he have destroyed you.
52.
And he shall besiege you in all your gates, until your high and fenced walls come down, wherein you trusted throughout all your land. And he shall besiege you in all your gates throughout all your land, which Yahuwah has given you. And you shall eat the fruit of your own body, the flesh of your sons and of your daughters, which Yahuwah has given you in the siege and in the straitness, wherewith your enemies shall distress you. So that the man that is tender among you, and very delicate, his eyes shall be evil toward his brother, and toward the women of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children which he shall leave. So that he
Where
will
you at?
55.
Oh, what happened?
Your eyes are getting old.
Oh, I switched 2 pages. I
Oh.
changed the page. I'm like,
Like, what's going on?
I'll go back to 54.
That's all right because y'all lost me. I mean, I'm on the right verse, but what she's
Okay.
saying, it ain't meaning nothing to me now. Because you
It's
just
too
read
much.
it all. Yeah.
All right.
There's a lot. That's why I was
There.
breaking it up. But
It's just, I was trying to get down to the bottom of there.
So that he will
Sorry.
not give to any of them of the flesh of his children whom he shall eat, because he has nothing left to him in the siege and in the straitness, wherewith your enemies shall distress you in all your gates. The tender and delicate women among you, which would not venture to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness, her eyes shall be evil toward the man of her bosom, and toward her son, and toward her daughter,
57.
and toward her young one that comes out from between her feet, and toward her children which she shall bear, for she shall eat them for one of all things secretly in the siege and straitness, wherewith your enemies shall distress you in your gates. If you will not guard to do all the words of this Torah that are written in this Sefer, that you may fear this glorious and fearful name, Yahuwah, then Yahuwah will make your plagues wonderful, and the plagues of your seed, even great plagues, and of long continuance, and sore sicknesses, and of long continuance. Moreover, he will bring upon you all the diseases of Egypt, which you were afraid of, and they shall cleave unto you.
61.
Also, every sickness and every plague which is not written in the Sefer of this Torah, then will Yahuwah bring upon you until you be destroyed. And ye shall be left few in number, whereas ye were as the stars of the heaven for multitude, because you would not obey the voice of Yahweh. And it shall come to pass that as Yahuwah rejoiced over you to do you good and to multiply you, so Yahuwah will rejoice over you to destroy you and to bring you to naught. And ye shall be plucked off from the land. Wait a minute.
Where you at?
63.
63. And you shall be plucked off from the land, whether you go to possess it. And Yahuwah shall scatter you among all the people from one end of the earth even unto the other. And there you shall serve other Elohim, which neither you nor your fathers have known, even wood and stone. And among these nations shall you find no ease, neither shall the sole of your foot have rest. But Yahuwah will give you there a trembling heart, and failing of eyes, and sorrow of mind.
66.
And your life shall hang in doubt before you, and you shall fear day and night, and shall have none assurance of your life. In the morning you shall say,
Wish it was night.
would to Elohim it were evening, and at evening you should say, would to Elohim it were morning. For the fear of your heart wherewith you shall fear, and for the sight of your eyes which you shall see.
68.
And Yahuwah shall bring you into Egypt again with ships. By the way whereof I spoke unto you, you shall see it no more again, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you.
Okay, so
What
this.
happened to Australia?
Hmm?
About the night. Say that again? That made me think of Australia.
If
Which-
it were,
No,
if,
not Australia. It's not Australia. What is it? The cold place.
Alaska.
Alaska.
where it's
Oh, we some up there. There's some of us up there too.
you're saying
I
like
mean-
during the, it's night for
Oh,
on end and you wish it was day, and then
Yeah.
it was day for months on end and you wish it was night.
Yeah.
But this is saying that
Your days.
you're going to be so anxious and so afraid and of just life, of trying to live life in this land that he sends you to, that in the morning you're going to be saying, I wish night would come so that it would just be over. And then when night gets there, you're still afraid, so you're saying, I wish morning would come. Because it's just no time
No
during
rest.
the day that you can actually rest your mind.
Mm.
That's what that's saying. And then we are there. We're our people are.
Yes, on the other side.
I think of too where it's like it speaks about the woman. Basically, it speaks about us eating our children, but that term in eating is also a term for consume in Hebrew. And I thought of because I was listening to something recently about Margaret Garner, who was the woman that killed her children because the slave masters were coming after her.
Right.
And she was in a barn in Ohio, and that's where Toni Morrison got the beloved novel and all that. But she killed her kids, or one of them, and tried to kill the others. And she said it would be better for them to die. And then when they were taking her back into slavery, she actually killed the others.
Another child.
child.
But
But
She
then it's-
didn't want them to be in
Enslaved.
slavery.
Right.
well,
But she didn't eat them. So what?
No.
but
in-
we're
in-
eating our children now, and we don't even know it. We
Yeah.
have. They have proven that in the state of New York, especially New York City, there are more black children aborted per year than there are that are born. They are using the fetuses to make
Medicine?
no, to make what is called natural
Fertilizer.
natural
it gets worse.
what's it called, flavorings. When you see, if you buy a
don't tell me that. Tell me, please don't tell me.
if you buy
As a
food that's
diabetic, I
pre-made,
gotta buy
and it
stuff
says-
that's more natural.
it says natural flavorings
But
on
it-
there,
but
and it
it's
doesn't
actually
tell you what it is.
That's
Yes.
stuff that's like pre-made, like
Um,
the I don't know, pre-made.
I'm saying I have
macaroni
So-
and
so they're
cheese in
taking-
a
Yeah,
box
mac and
and all
cheese in a
that
box.
stuff. Yeah,
So they're literally taking the feces
Fetuses.
Fetuses.
Oh, he's gonna make me sick.
But that's
I know,
what the
it is
Bible
sickening.
says.
It is sickening.
That's what, and it's because of our disobedience. And the more we are disobedient, the more it just keeps coming on us. And then read verse 30. Read 68.
I turned to
No, go back. Because read 68
Where
again.
we at now?
Deuteronomy 28.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where you say the Elohim? It says the Elohim in verse 68.
Deuteronomy, what
And
now?
28.
Oh, this is 28.
Elohim
verse
in
what?
67.
Last one, last verse.
The last verse of
Yeah.
28 is over here. I mean, chapter 28,
Right.
the last verse is 68, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And the Lord will take you back to Egypt in
Okay.
ships.
Okay, so
by
first,
the
let's
way
stop
of
before you,
which-
let me
which
stop for a
what they
minute.
trying to do to us now.
He said,
That's what they
he
did to
said
us.
the word Egypt is Mizraim.
Mitzrayim. Mitzrayim.
Misraim. Okay? This does not mean you're going back to Egypt, but you're going back to an Egypt type place of
Misery.
bondage.
Misery, bondage.
Yeah.
Bondage is the actual
So,
term that's used. there.
so because there was no, it was dry land from where they were to
And
Egypt.
again, that's where they trying to take us back to now.
But in ships, they brought us over here.
yeah,
Read the rest of that.
I'm saying, okay, let me start it over again. And the Lord will take you back to Egypt in ships by the way of which I said to you, you shall never see it again, and there you shall be offered for sale to your enemies as male and female slaves, but no one will buy you.
Buy you mean nobody will redeem you. No one ever, if you have something on layaway, they give you a little slip and you bring it in, and when you pay for that last slip, you're redeeming that thing out of layaway. You're going to be in bondage, and there's no way out.
Okay, because
So some people say slavery is over,
No,
but slavery's not over because
slavery never ended. As I said, as I personally feel, like when we were slaves, we had shackles on our feet. The shackles have just been changed to unemployment, being on welfare, being not able to make the same pay that a white person would make, not live the same place they would live, and trying to keep us under, and
imprisonment.
as I said, and as we're being taken back there, it's because, like Trump said, let's make America what again?
White.
No, he didn't say white. But, let's make
Oh,
America,
we're not bashing the
let's
white
make
people.
America great again. That means let's make America, like you said, white again. Let's take over what we let go, or what we lost. Let's take that over. Let's regain that. Put them people back where they belong, which is under our feet. And that's what is going on. But see, the problem with that is not everybody's on board with that before.
Okay, so let's
before in the past, white people were all on that same page, and if they weren't, they didn't speak up about it, because then they would be treated like we were. They would be called nigger lovers, But now white people are speaking up, and they're saying no, we don't believe that. We're not all there. So that's the problem with that. So I don't think that's going to happen.
All of the atrocities are laid in there. I could have taken another couple hours just going through all of the things that they
Let's
pulled
not
up.
do that.
Your family.
but
all night.
if you go to Joel, which is where we wanted to go, right?
Yeah, right
There-
that down here so I can read that when I get home.
Yes. When you read through that, he gives us a way out. He tells us what we need to do. Because it's the same, that's the same text that was read in Acts 2. But when you read through the 3 chapters, he says for his people to call a solemn assembly and to fast and pray for deliverance. That you change your way, repent, and go back. And that's what we really wanted to go there, and I'll probably go there next week if we're back. Because we need to turn from our wicked ways as a people and repent.
Yeah.
The years that the cankerworm is eaten, what are the other ones that are listed there in Joel? The cankerworm, the caterpillar, the locust, right? Those are all terminologies of things that have destroyed us, right? The only way out of this mess is that we start practicing Torah, which is the law, and keeping it. So our goal is for our people to come together at a place where they preach, teach, and practice Torah, the laws, statutes, and commandments, the same ones that we read about in Psalms 19. You read through all the book. If you love me, you'll keep my laws, statutes, and commandments. And if you don't, you can't expect anything different. You can't expect to be blessed. You can only expect to see what we've seen every day. When you wake up in the morning and there's a 65-year-old woman being pulled out by the police, beat down, dragged into the police car, 5, 6, 12-year-old people, kids getting shot down by police officers, and it just goes on and on and on, right? The only change that's going to make a difference is that we open up the book, start practicing what we're believing, and not doing as the people did in the book. They became hypocritical. So they said one thing, but they did something altogether different. It's imperative that we start keeping the word, remembering Sabbath, turning down our plate, and fasting and doing the things that bring honor to Him. That will make the difference. It's not the people that are beating us. It's us beating us.
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
This little light of mine, light of mine.